Good morning, everybody. I got my hands on some fish yesterday from the butcher. I'm trying out some different kinds of seafood, and I got a hold of some red snapper fillets, so I wanted to eat those for breakfast today and kind of show you guys what those taste like and what that's like. This is what it looks like right here. Pretty good looking fish. I'm not much of a fisherman, so I don't know much about the red snapper. I know it's cool looking, and the butcher said it's pretty tasty. But I wanted to try this out. Pretty sure it's previously frozen. A lot of the seafood that I get here is frozen because we're a landlocked state. So I get my hands on some really good beef around here, but the best I can get for seafood is previously frozen stuff. But you know, I'll take what I can get. Another part of this video, real quick, I wanted to show you guys is something that I do before I eat my meat now. Is I warm it up with warm water. So I'll take this fillet, throw it in this bag right here. Seal that up. Take it over to the sink and run some water over it. This isn't something that I have to do. This is something that I choose to do, the preference. It just makes it more realistic, you know, when you're eating raw meat and it's at room temperature or it's even like a little bit chilly, which I do a lot of times. It's not realistic, you know. It's not like eating meat fresh off a kill. And I believe that's how, if we did eat raw meat, a lot of times that's how we ate it, was fresh off the kill. A lot of times they fermented it, stored it, but I think it's important to have the meat warm. It makes it a little easier to eat for some reason too. Like the steaks pull apart a little bit easier when they're kind of hot and warm. But again, not hot water, just kind of some warm water, not cooking it. I'll just run it on there for like a minute just to kind of take the cold off of it. Got some bone broth going too. Might as well show you that. I just started this yesterday, and this is my first time doing bone broth with these center cut bones. These guys. See all that marrow in the middle that's dissolving out? I usually put knuckle bones in there, but I decided to throw some these center cut bones in there, and it looks like it's got a lot more marrow than the knuckle bones. So center cut bones might be better for broth than knuckle bones. Not sure yet, just kind of still experimenting, but got 2 more days on this. I like my broth really thick. So, alright, so the red snapper is all warmed up. Throw this back on the plate. Like I said, this is a really cool looking fish. That's a very neat looking fish right there. Nice little breakfast there, some grass-fed butter. A couple eggs and some red snapper. Let's make sure this is camera straight. Alright, curious to try this out, see what this is like compared to the tuna and the salmon. Tastes like fish for sure. Tastes good. Tastes really good. That's pretty tasty stuff. Pretty good fish. I mean, it tastes like fish. I'm not sure how to describe it beyond that. Good stuff. So I'm just kind of dipping my toes right now into the seafood world. I really don't know anything about seafood. Like, I just tried oysters for the first time in my life a couple months ago. And besides eating salmon for like a couple months before I got into carnivore, I was eating a lot of fish. Because I knew I had to kind of increase my fats somehow. Fish was the only way I knew how to do that. So I was eating a lot of cooked salmon. Man, I can't believe how different the taste is from raw fish compared to cooked fish. It's such a drastic difference. If anything is meant to be eaten raw, it's fish. I mean, it's clearly meant to be eaten raw, to me. It retains most of its moisture still. It's still juicy. Raw fish is just a good meal. Raw fish seems to give a little bigger of a boost of energy in the beginning of the meal. I'm feeling like a big increase in energy right now because this is my breakfast. I haven't eaten for 16 hours. I fast for 16 hours every day, so I'll eat for 8. Fast for 16. So I'm noticing a huge increase in my energy right now compared to when I first started the video. Fish seems to do that a little bit better than steak. Steak is one of those things to where you start feeling the energy about 3/4 of the way through the steak, or even when you get done with it, then it kind of hits you and you have this long sustainable energy. So it's interesting how all the energies hit you different. You know, high meat hits you right away, stuff like that. Another little side note, I've had this grass-fed butter in my fridge for well over a month. And every once in a while I see a little, like, couple pieces of maybe some brown, black mold kind of starting to surface. I just scrape it off with a knife. It's still good. So, butter seems to be good for at least a month in the fridge, I've found so far. And I got some in my freezer right now too. I'm going to pull out and see how long that lasts. Oh yeah. This is how I eat my eggs now too. It's much easier this way. Put a little dent right there. Just like that. Have you ever heard someone, the saying, go suck an egg? I remember when I was a kid, we used to tell each other that, go suck an egg, because it's just hilarious to tell that to people. Now I know what that means. That's how you suck an egg. So far, so good on the raw primal diet for me. Every once in a while I get cravings for sweets, sugary stuff. I've never craved a vegetable. Every once in a while I'll crave like a fruit, like an orange. But I just know for 100% that I'm just craving the sugar in it. I know that my body's tricking me. And I learned that at the very beginning of starting a meat-only diet, because my cravings were really intense. I would sit there, if you pay attention and you're having problems with cravings, what helped me get over it is I would sit there and kind of meditate on it. And I would ask myself, what am I craving? Why am I craving it? What is this craving? What is this feeling? Every time I did that, it led me down a path